Namaskar, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, students and scholars, teachers and trainers, professors, professionals, listener learners, the most audible, President Prime Minister Modi ji, respected ministers and managers, honorable doctors and directors,
is ready to pair.
honorable advocates and retired administrators and advisors, all my dear friends, I heartily, cordially welcome. It is really nice time, nice place, nice section. That we are going towards only words of our education related to language and literature.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Multilingual nature of India. India is a multilingual country. The language of India belong to several language families, the major ones being the Indo-Aryan languages spoken by 73% of Indians and Dravidian languages spoken by 24% of Indians. Other languages spoken in India belong to the Auto-Asiatic, Tibetan, Burman, and a few minor language families and isolates. And isolatus, the official language of the Union Government of Republic of India, is Hindi, while English is a secondary official language. The Constitution of India states that the official language of Union shall be Hindi in Devanagari script. However, each state has its own language. There are 22 official recognized languages. These are known as scheduled languages and constitute the major languages of India. Besides these, there are Indian languages which are spoken by large masses but have still not acquired the status of scheduled languages of India. These languages spoken by regional people are known as regional languages of India. This includes Rajasthani, Bihari, Bhili, Gondi, Tulu, among others. Some languages are not widely spoken. They are given the status of minority languages. Mahi and Portuguese languages come under this category. English as the language of prestige and power. English was the language of our rulers. During the British rule, English was the language of the state and all official correspondence was done in English. All the administrative jobs, including petty clerical posts, were open only to those who had a sound knowledge of English. English goes on playing an important role even in free India. It is an important language. It is a global language. It is understood almost in every part of the world. It is not only a national language of the Englishman, it is an international language. It may be called the language of the world civilization. At the time of independence of India, people wanted to get rid of it, but it was become more important than ever before in 21st century. English has become once again the queen of languages. Everybody wants to learn this language. More and more people want to send their children to English medium schools. The importance of English is increasing day by day. English is the language of trade, industry and commerce. English plays an important role in the industrial and commercial life of the country. All correspondence is done mainly in English. Efficiency and success in these fields depend upon the adequate knowledge of English, importance in science and technology. It is very useful to study science and technology. We have to gain all technical knowledge in English. It is a direct medium of getting a knowledge of modern arts, science, humanities, technology, etc. Vocational importance. English has tremendous vocational importance for us. It offers opportunities for many and varied vocations like diplomatic and foreign services, business, medicine, law, etc. English is a good source of recreation and useful employment of leisure. Persons knowing English can enjoy best stories, drama, novels, etc. written or translated in English. English is playing an equally important role in the social life of Indian people. Majority of educated persons use this language for correspondence. They find it more convenient to converse in English. English has been the official language in our country for more than 150 years. Even now, this language has almost the same importance, the same position in the offices of the country. We find that English alone is being used at every level of administration. English helps in bringing people of diverse cultures closer to each other. It also assists us for our intercultural understanding inside the country. It has helped us in building new cultural traditions. English is a window to see what is happening all around us. It is only through the study of English that we can come to know the progress being made by the people of different nations of the world in different areas of life. English works as a communication bridge. In the multilingual country like India, it helps in higher studies. Since the study of English is so important in India today that one feels proud of studying it. Teaching English as a first language, second language and foreign language. Let us define first language teaching or learning and describe its goal. The goals of teaching the mother tongue, for example, the first language, and are different from those of teaching a second language. For example, target language, in a sense, the first language is not taught but caught. A child picks up the first language from the speakers in the immediate environment and it is learned naturally. Learning the first language is like one of the basic instincts which cannot be suppressed. A novel child will learn how to listen, understand and speak the language that is used in his or her social environment. Linguists say that the innate language learning ability of the human mind enables the child to learn the language by constructing the grammar of the language in his or her mind in a natural way. Listening and speaking in the first language are natural processes, but not reading and writing. The child learns them only when he goes to school or is taught by someone. The goals of teaching the first language may be teaching and learning how to read and write, teaching and learning and standard language. The child may have learned a dialect used in his or her home, social environment and its varieties. Teaching and learning the literature of the first language and through it, the culture, literary heritage, and value system of the language community. The language taught and learned may be English in English speaking countries, Hindi in Hindi-speaking areas, Telugu in Andhra Pradesh, or any other language as the first language or mother tongue. EMT is the abbreviation used for English as mother tongue teaching. We teach a number of foreign languages in India: French, German, Spanish, Japanese, and so on. If, for example, French or German is taught to a Punjabi speaking learner, the goal of teaching is limited. The learner is not going to use the language for day-to-day conversation in India. If he goes to France or Germany, he or she has to use the language in its own cultural context. So in his learning of a foreign language, the literary or cultural function is dominant. The communicative function is rather limited or minimal. In foreign language teaching, the cultural aspects get the focus. EFL is the abbreviation used for teaching English as a foreign language. During the early days of English education in India, English was taught and learned as a foreign language. In teaching a second language, the goal is instrumental or communicative. Here the cultural and literary goals are minimized. In the present context in India, the learner of English may have to use English for purpose of communication, oral or written, in his or her day-to-day life, in the office, market, place, bank, and sometimes in social gatherings. English is used as a secondary vehicle of communication within one's own culture and social context. Similarly, a Tamil user may learn Hindi as a second language. Both Tamil and Hindi are used within the cultural context of the Indian subcontinent. On the other hand, English, being an Indo-European language, is somewhat different in the degree in which it is related to the Indian subcontinent as Hindi or Tamil on the other. It has a unique status. It is neither Indian nor foreign. That is why the Constitution treats it as an associate language. English teaching in the contemporary India is a highly complex activity. It is the world's largest democratic enterprise in the world. There is pressure of population, pluralism, the colonial legacy, political compulsions, illiteracy, lack of infrastructure, vested interest and problems of trained teachers, etc. The major problems in the field of teaching English in contemporary India. Population, the pressure of population and the craze for English have resulted in the commercialization of English teaching in India. It is market driven and not welfare driven. Pluralism. There are about 300 languages and dialects in India. India is highly pluralistic. It is multilingual, multicultural, multi-religious and multi-ethnic with large rural areas. This makes language planning a highly context, complex and emotional problem. We do not have a language planning commission. Different groups exploit people and build walls around their languages. Colonial mindset. The colonial legacy has continued in the field of education. This mindset has made the nation dependent on other countries and agencies for all their ideas. Even all our committees and commissions have only tried to adopt and adapt the colonial model through Indian are very adept in evolving their own system of knowledge and education. Power politics, language, particularly the English language, has become not only a means for power and exploitation, it has also become a site for struggle. The English knowing class is not interested in any serious changes in the society or in educating the masses. The Babu class is interested only in perpetuating the feudal order. As a result, there is no proper planning or political will in implementation and lack of coordination among various agencies, the central government, state governments, universities. As a result of it, there is no clear-cut policies, goals, aims, and objectives of teaching English. Insufficient teachers. The teachers of English are insufficient in professionalism. They are interested only in their service condition and not in service to the community of students. In this reference, Professor Gokak says the foundational years for the teaching of English in schools are in the hands of teachers who neither know enough English nor are familiar with the latest and far-reaching developments in the pedagogy of English. The teachers take no interest in professional matters. They cover the syllabus because it is to be covered. The students too come to school or colleges because they want a degree or a diploma. This lifeless exercise is being continued in mechanical manner. Imported methods. We have been using only imported methods for teaching of English in India. Most of the methods advocated were fabricated in monolingual countries like the UK or the USA. They are not effective in a multilingual country like India. We have not evolved our aim or methods based on our own experience and local wisdom. We have learned to live on imported theories and methods such as structural approach, the direct method, communicative language, teaching, and so on. Inefficient textbooks, the textbooks and other teaching aids that are used are not very effective. Textbooks prepared by government agencies are dull and unattractive. They have mistakes, actual as well as linguistic. There is widespread corruption in the field of education and in the preparation and prescription of textbooks, large classes and lack of facilities. The number of students in a class must be limited in order to follow the activity method, project method of teaching, but here classes are crowded and there are proper facilities in schools and colleges. In the present system, no individual attention is possible, and that is what is essential in language teaching. Examination centered education. It is the examination that controls men and women, materials and methods. In our present system of education, the present examination system is based on memorization and reproduction. It does not test the learner's competence in English. Money, power. The quantitative expansion in education and English teaching has resulted in lack of quality. Those who have the necessary resources and money send their children to the best English medium schools and public schools in the country, but those who do not have the means must be satisfied with what they get in the name of English. We conclude by saying that English teaching in India needs a new thrust. Why do Indians need English in independent India? There are three important reasons for learning English in post-independent India. English is a window on the world. We need English because it is necessary for mobility, for social and economic purpose, and for job opportunities. It is the language that opens the doors of the global market. It has great value as an international language. That is why there is a great demand for courses on business English, management English, English for information technology, technical writing, spoken and written English, medical, transcription and so on. Secondly, we need English for social transformation and modernization. India needs modern technological information in every branch of knowledge, be it agriculture or biotechnology. We need to benefit from the resources of the English language. English can play an important role in changing our society. The interaction between English and India and Indian languages must result in improving the lives of the vast majority of non-English knowing people in India who at present are exploited by the English knowing minority in urban areas. Rural India should benefit from English and English education. We need English to serve as a window on India. Indians need to project their identity and tell the world that India is a civilized nation. We need to tell the world about our heritage, tradition, and development and our aspirations in a way that was how English was used by our national leaders during our struggle for independence. Swami Vivekananda, Shri Aurobindo, Tilak, Gokhale, Bose, Gandhi, Nehru, and a host of others used English to project our identity and aspirations. We need to follow that example. Are these three are the important aims and objectives or functions of English in free India. The importance of teaching English in India as a modern foreign language, international. It has international importance. English claims to be the first-rate international language. It can even be called a universal language. Its knowledge helps us in knowing the problem of international understanding. It extends the radius of a person's horizon. It overcomes his prejudices, intolerance, and narrow-mindedness. Thus, it is very helpful in fostering true international cooperation among the nations of the world. Educational importance. It has its own educational importance. English is a direct medium of acquiring a knowledge of modern arts, modern arts, science, humanities, technology, etc. It is equally important for statesmen and politicians, scientists and doctors, engineers and educationists, businessmen and research workers. They enrich their knowledge and experience by reading English books and journals. Consequently, they contribute to the progress of their country, particularly an underdeveloped country like India. It has its cultural importance. English widens one's culture and intellectual horizon. It develops scientific, technical, commercial relations with other countries. It imparts knowledge of our nations and cultures. Thus, it further requires mutual understanding and cooperation. Vocational importance. Study of English as a modern foreign language has tremendous importance for us. It offers opportunities for many and varied vocations like diplomatic and foreign services, business, commerce, medicine, teaching, law, etc. Disciplinary importance. It has its own disciplinary importance. The study of English enables a person to compare and contrast of the good and bad things of his country with those of other nations. By doing so, he trains his analytical and reflective faculties. Thus, he acquires a new insight into various resources of thought and impression. Recreational importance. It has its own recreational importance. English is a good source of recreation and useful employment of leisure. Persons knowing English can enjoy the best stories, drama, novels, etc., written or translated in English. The learning of the mother tongue differs from learning the foreign language in a number of ways. Some of these points of difference. The learning of the mother tongue is a natural process. The child has the strongest motivation to learn it. It is because he wants to express his needs and wants. If the child does not learn the mother tongue, he cannot adjust himself in society. On the other hand, learning a foreign language is an artificial process. Mostly the child has little motivation to learn it. The, they will, this will to learn the foreign language is missing. The will to learn the foreign language is missing. The child learns the mother tongue in a natural environment. He is surrounded by a number of teachers. His parents and relatives ask him to learn the language. He listens to the mother tongue most of his waking hours. The foreign language is taught in an artificial environment. More often than not, the child's only contact with the foreign language is in the classroom. There are a number of holidays in the school and the time devoted to the teaching of the foreign language is limited. The child learns the mother tongue in situations. The girl ups point to certain things and tell the child with their names. The child listens to a lot of sentences in the mother tongue and he himself tries to imitate them. Thus he grasps the situation or concept and language simultaneously. When the child learns the mother tongue, his mind is a clean state and no other language is getting in the way. but when he learns the foreign language, his habits of the mother tongue interfere with the habits of the new language. Let us describe how the mother tongue helps in learning English. While teaching English, different people have different notions regarding the use of mother tongue. Those who believe in the translation method of teaching English are in favor of using mother tongue. While teaching English, on the other hand, the advocates of the direct method do not allow the use of mother tongue. They discard the use of mother tongue while teaching English. However, many educationists find the utility of mother tongue in learning English. The opinion of them are Robert Paul says, when we learn our first language, we face the universe directly and learn to clothe it with speech. When we learn a second language, for example English, we tend to filter the universe through the language already known. Thus, the knowledge of the mother tongue helps in learning a foreign language. Menon and Patel observe. A teacher may explain by means of lines and drawings using English all the time. The words long and short when the speaks. When he speaks and draws lines on the blackboard, if pupils say to themselves in their own language, our words for that is translation is taking place even though the pupil has said nothing aloud. In words of Raiban, if sufficient attention is paid to the teaching of mother tongue and it is well-taught habits may be formed in the classroom, which will be of greatest value in connection with the learning of English. According to University Education Commission of Calcutta, severe training in the use of mother tongue is not a vital, but a necessary preliminary to training in the use of English. There are many ways which show clearly that mother tongue assists in learning of English. In mother tongue, the child learns how to sit, how to hold the pen to write, and how to write. All this helps the child when he is learning a foreign language. In the learning of the mother tongue, the child learns certain habits, for example, speaking, reading, writing, silent reading, reading with comprehension, speed of writing, writing beautifully, etc. All these habits are also needed in the learning of a foreign language. The imagination of the child is developed in the mother tongue. He is having certain ideas on certain topics. He also learns how to arrange those ideas in a systematic and logical way while developing composition. All this is helpful in learning of English. The child learns to consult a dictionary in mother tongue. The same practice is carried while he learns English. Some terms of grammar are common both in the mother tongue and English. For example, the use of pronunciation marks. The child's knowledge of punctuation marks in the mother tongue is helpful while learning English. Many sounds of English are almost the same as are in the mother tongue. For example, ba, da, fa, ka, la, sa, pa, ma, na, etc. Naturally, children learn them easily while learning English. For all comprehension of English by a learner, Mother tongue helps considerably at the very early stages of teaching English. The teacher can use the mother tongue for giving instructions. Many times the whole lesson of English is translated into mother tongue. In certain cases, some words are not understood even after the use of all the devices of teaching English. In such cases, the use of mother tongue works wonders. Thus, we find that the use of mother tongue proves very beneficial while learning English. The other side of the issue is that the use of mother tongue also interferes in the learning of English, such as propounded by the advocates of the direct method of teaching. When a teacher uses the mother tongue in teaching an English lesson, he should take the following, he should take some equation. He should use English speech, objects, pictures, sketches, and other possible means to communicate the idea represented by the word. He should use the mother tongue only when all his methods fail. After giving equivalent words in the mother tongue, he should get quickly into English. If necessary, he should explain the grammatical points in the mother tongue, but he should not forget to get back quickly into English. To test the pupil's comprehension, he can sometimes ask the meaning of a word in the mother tongue. He should, however, never do so in the case of phrases and sentences. Mother tongue interferes in the learning of a foreign language in a number of ways. This is but natural. When the child learns his mother tongue, there is no other language getting in the way. But when he learns a foreign language, the habits of his mother tongue continuously conflict with those of the foreign language. The conflict arises in all areas like sound, structure, and vocabulary. In sounds, the sound system in no two languages is the same. Different languages have different sounds. If we compare the sound system of English and Hindi, we find that whereas English has 20 vowels and diphthongs, Hindi has only 10. The English vowel sounds which do not occur in Hindi are the vowel sounds in set, cat, not, all, bird, and the initial vowel sound in above. These, the English diphthongs continuation of vowel sound in fly, toy, cow, deer, fear, tool are also not found in Hindi. Some English consonants are also not available in Hindi. They are the initial sound in west, tail, dash, zebra, and the middle sound in individual sounds. Besides the differences in individual sounds in the two languages, there are differences in stress, rhythm, and intonation. Whereas English is a stress typed language, Hindi is a syllable typed language. These differences in the sound, stress, rhythm, and intonation make it difficult for a Hindi speaker to acquire correct English pronunciation. The speech habits of a child's mother tongue continually get in the way. He has to keep at bay the habits of his mother tongue and cultivate a fresh set of habits. What is structure? The arrangement of words into sentences is different in the mother tongue and the foreign language. The learner tends to build sentences in the foreign language as he does in his mother tongue. In English, the object follows the verb, but in Hindi precedes the verb. For example, I read English. In English, the helping verb precedes the main verb, whereas in Hindi it comes after it. For example, the girls are singing. In English, the interrogative sentences are framed with the question word or the helping verb in the beginning, whereas in Hindi question word alone makes questions. For example, where are you going? Do you know Ram? In English, the gender of the subject does not affect the verb, but in Hindi it does. For example, the boy plays, the girl plays. In English, the gender or number of things does not affect its adjective, but in Hindi it does. For example, a good boy is a good girl, good boys, a good mirror, good pictures. Such examples may be multiplied. What is vocabulary? Students make mistakes in vocabulary of English because of the influence of the mother tongue. For example, they make a number of mistakes in the use of prepositions and articles. They write, it is 10 o'clock in my watch instead of 5 or the horse is lame from one leg instead of four. I have watch instead of a watch for. There is a tendency to translate literally. The following sentences show the tendency. The correct sentences are given in the package. The station has come. We have reached the station. The station has come means we have reached the station. Meet me behind the period. Meet me after the period. The question does not take place means the question does not arise. She resembles with her mother means she resembles her mother. The interference from the mother tongue can be minimized by drilling the correct forms to the pupils. The mistakes in pronunciation, grammar and usage should be pointed out to the students and the correct forms should be drilled. English language is generally considered to the legacy of British colonial rule in India and stagely many political and religious leaders have time and again proposed the idea of doing away with English language and promote our own national language Hindi. They consider it to be the cultural invasion of Britain. In the age of colonization, many countries were colonized by England in the span of 150 years. It was the age of imperialism and the colonized country was superior to their own. Language being one of the most important constituent of culture, the colonizing countries used their language as a means of subduing the colonizing countries psychologically and culturally. When the British came to India, they introduced English in government offices and educational institutions. Their main purpose was to produce individuals who remain loyal to the British crown and adopt English, British culture and language. In educational institutions, the grammar translation method of teaching English was introduced so as to produce individuals with excellent writing and reading skills to aid them in official work. Language was taught through literature so as to familiarize the students with British culture, as literature is the best of thoughts in the best of words. The unit of language which was given prime importance was the sentence. Grammar was to be appreciated and translation was given importance. In this method, primary focus is on grammar and translation. Reading and writing skills are improved. Speaking and listening skills are given least important. Least importance and pronunciation is already altogether ignored. The student shall be conscious of the grammatical rules of the targeted language. This system produced individuals with a good writing and reading skills. But to communicate in English language was a distant dream for such individuals, and as a result of this approach, Britain was able to mold the educated class of India to further her objectives and designs. Some students learn a new language more quickly and easily than others. This simple fact is known by all who have themselves learned a second language or taught those who are using their second language in school. Clearly, some language learners are accessible, some language learners are successful by virtue of their sheer determination, hard work, and persistence. However, there are other crucial factors influencing success that are largely beyond the control of the learners. These factors can be broadly categorized as internal and external. It is their complex interplay that determines the speed and facility with which the new language is learned. Let us take break, please. Some students learn a new language. Some students learn a new language more quickly and easily than others. This simple fact is known by all who have themselves learned second language or taught those who are using their second language in school. Clearly, some language learners are successful by virtue of their sheer determination, hard work, and persistence. However, there are other crucial factors influencing success that are largely beyond the control of the learner. These factors can be broadly categorized as internal and external. It is their complex interplay that determines the speed and facility with which the next new language is learned. Internal factors affecting second language acquisition. Internal factors are those that the individual language learner brings with him or her to the particular learning situation. Second language acquisition is influenced by the age of the learner. Children who already have solid literacy skills in their own language seem to be in the best position of acquire on new language efficiently. Motivated older learners can be very successful too, but usually struggle to achieve native speaker equivalent pronunciation and intonation. Introverted or anxious learners usually make slower progress, particularly in the development of oral skills. They are less likely to take advantages of opportunities to speak or to seek out such opportunities. More outgoing students will not worry about the inevitability of making mistakes. They will take risk and thus will give themselves much more practice. Intrinsic motivation has been found to correlate strongly with educational achievement. Clearly, students who enjoy language learning and take pride in their progress will do better than those who don't. Extrinsic motivation is also a significant factor. ESL students, for example, who need to learn English in order to take a place at an American university or to communicate with a new language boy, new English boy, girlfriend are likely to make greater efforts and thus greater progress. Learners who have acquired general knowledge and experience are in a stronger position to develop a new language than who has already lived in three different countries and been exposed to various languages and further language than the students who hadn't had such experiences. Cognition. In general, it seems that students with greater cognitive abilities greater cognitive abilities will make a vast progress. Some linguists believe that there is a specific innate language learning ability that is stronger in some students than in others. Native language students who are learning a second language, which is from the same language family as their first language, have in general a much easier task than those who aren't so far. So, for example, a Dutch child will learn English more quickly than a Japanese child. External factors are those that implies a particular language learning situation. Curriculum for ESL students. External. Second, language acquisition. For ESL students in particular, it is important that the totality of their educational experience is appropriate for their needs. Language learning is less likely to place if students are fully submerged into the mainstream program without any extra assistance, or conversely not allowed to be part of the mainstream until they have reached the central certain level of language proficiency. Clearly, some language teachers are better than others at providing appropriate and effective learning experience for the students in their classrooms. These students will make fast progress. The same applies to mainstream teachers in second language situations. The science teacher, for example, who is aware that she too is responsible for the students' English language development, makes certain accommodations, will contribute to their linguistic development. Its culture and status. There is some evidence that students in situations where their own culture has a lower status than that of the culture in which they are learning the language make slower progress. Motivation. Students who are given continuing appropriate encouragement to learn by their teachers and parents will generally fare better than those who aren't. For example, students from families that place little importance on language learning are likely to progress less quickly. Access to native speakers, the opportunity to interact with native speakers both within and outside of the classroom is a significant advantage. Native speakers are linguistic models and can provide appropriate feedback. Clearly, second language learners who have no extensive access to native speakers are likely to make slower progress, particularly in the oral aspect of language acquisition. We are living in the era of science and technology. The term globalization is frequently used in these days. If a country remained isolated and aloof from the other nations of the world, it simply means that it is deliberately inviting its disastrous end. English language is an international language. It is also the lingua franca of modern civilization. Moreover, we are living in the age of competition. Therefore, we need the teaching of English language from the very beginning. It is necessary for the development of India. Thus, the teaching of English should be made compulsory or primary or elementary stage. At the elementary stage, the teaching of English will provide the ample opportunities to gain the knowledge of various words. The learners will be able to tell in English about the objects, relations, courtesies, commands, etc. in their atmosphere of home and school. The teaching of English at the elementary stage will inculcate English words such as cap, mug, paper, pencil, spoon, etc., about which the learner is already familiar, can speak them easily. In Hindi speaking states, English is introduced at the sixth standard.
Power off.
In Hindi speaking states, English is introduced at the sixth standard. As a result of it, the students remain backward in English. even after their 15 years of schooling and college education. They cannot even speak 15 sentences fluently on a single topic. Therefore, English language in government schools should be introduced at the primary level. If it is implemented seriously, the students will be able to interact in English at the primary level. Their communication may be in simple English, but it will be correct in form. To reach this destination, hard work is required on both the sides, for example, teachers and students. The regular practice of English will certainly make the students more confident and correct while using English language. Introduction of English language at elementary stage helps the students in the acquisition of a rich vocabulary at initial stage. At this level, the students learn words of the surrounding places of their existences. But the knowledge of the objects of school, classroom, playground, home and street increases the vocabulary of students up to 10,000 words within 3 or 4 years. As it has already been discussed that the language acquisition occurs maximum at primary levels. Therefore, if the children come in contact with a foreign language at their initial stage, they will acquire it more easily and efficiently. At this stage, their grasping power is at maximum. Here, learning language does not seem to children as a burden or compulsion. They acquire it in a playful manner. The phobia and fear of English wouldn't pester the children, and they quickly grasp the words and structures of English language without any extra efforts. On the contrary, if the students are introduced and exposed to English language after the age of 10, they will always feel horrified and burdened. Learning English becomes the most difficult work for them because natural language acquisition starts declining after the age of 10 years. Therefore, English language should be introduced in elementary level. It must remove the terror of English language. Learners will find themselves in perfect capacity of learning English language. Thus, we can conclude that the study of English is a necessity and advantageous for us. Therefore, it should be introduced at the primary level of learning. It is rightly said by Michael West, a language is not a subject which can be taught, it is a subject which must be learned. The teaching of English in our schools is in a chaotic state today. The conditions under which it is taught today are far from satisfactory. It is taught as compulsory subject in Indian schools from class 1. However, when the pupils join the ninth class, it is estimated that most of the students are not able to write just a paragraph at their own. They hardly know 1,000 words by the time. They do not know how to use the commonest structures of English. It has been observed that the most important aspect of language, for example, spoken aspect, is not touched at primary stages. Hence, the very purpose of teaching English is defeated. There are various factors which hamper the learning of English language. These reasons, one is, what are these reasons? One is lack of purpose and clear-cut objectives. Most of the teachers teaching English themselves are not clear about the objectives of teaching English. They do not bother about the purpose of teaching English. Their aim is only to cover the syllabus. Students are expected to claim the answers of questions and reproduce them in their answer books at the time of examination. In fact, neither the teachers nor the students are well versed with the objectives of teaching English. As a consequence, the students are not able to learn the language in proper sense of the word. Quality methods of teaching. The methods of teaching English adopted in the schools are quite defective. In most of the schools, the translation method of teaching English is used. The teachers do not show any interest in acquiring the knowledge about the latest methods of teaching the subject. They simply prepare the students to pass examination. The teachers feel that their job is finished as soon as they have translated something into mother tongue. Then they encourage students to claim the material. The composition is dictated by the teachers and textbooks are translated into mother tongue. Third, equipped teachers. Many ill-equipped teachers, many teachers who teach English are untrained to teach English as a foreign language. Most of them have faulty pronunciation. They are not well equipped to teach English at any cost. In this context, the English Review Committee appointed by UGC said there are shortage of teachers. Those available have just passed the school final examination, having themselves studied English in a village school for 4 or 5 or 6 years. They have little idea of correct usage and not at all correct pronunciation. Their vocabulary are limited as their reading. Professor Gopal said the foundational years for the teaching of English are in the hands of teachers who neither know enough English nor are familiar with the latest developments in the pedagogy of English. Overcrowded classes. Another thing that hampers learning of English is the overcrowded classes. The number of students sitting in a class varies from 60 to 80. In such crowded classes, the teacher cannot pay individual attention to learners and he cannot do justice to his duty. It is impossible to teach the four skills of language properly and efficiently. In crowded classes, every student cannot learn all the skills of English learning even after studying English for 8 years. Lack of audio-visual aids. There is need of audio-visual aids like lingua phones, tape recorders, film strips, Epidiascope, Epidiascope for teaching English effectively. But these audiovisual aids are not available in schools. In the absence of these aids, the sounds of English and correct pronunciation cannot be taught. Textbooks are the only tool which is used in teaching English language. This makes language learning boring. Lack of activity-based teaching. Teaching of English in classroom is the one-way traffic. The teacher does all the talking in the class, while students are only passive learners. There, there happens to be no activity device to develop all the four skills of language learning. Lack of activity makes the teaching learning process dull and uninteresting. Lack of drill work. Drill work has a special place in teaching learning process of English. It is very necessary, but the teachers do not have sufficient time for drill work because they have to cover the syllabus in a fixed time. Quality textbooks. The prescribed textbooks of English suffer in many ways. Most of these books written by CIEFL and NCRT are adopted by different boards of different states. All these textbooks have a number of shortcomings in them. These books fail to deliver the goods. The subject matter of these books is hardly related to the surrounding environment of the learner. The vocabulary, the structure used in these books also present difficulties to the ordinary learners. Teacher, teacher-centered classroom environment. It has revealed in the searches that in the teaching of English language, the teacher speaks all the time. The students remain only passive learners, thus there is no participation of the learners in the teaching learning process. As a result, the students remain underconfident in English even after learning English for 8 years. Quality pronunciation, according to V.K. Gokak, our pupils and indeed many of their teachers speak English as if it were Hindi, Bengali, Marathi or Tamil. Our regional speech habits have absorbed the spoken English and regionalized it. Substandard quality of teacher education. During the training period of teacher, special attention should be paid to the knowledge of language, especially speaking and writing skills should be mastered very well. The teacher should be trained to pronounce English words correctly will, with proper stress and intonation, but education is teacher education is lacking to develop efficient skills in teachers during the training. Quality examination system. The students as well as teachers have become examination minded. They do everything just for the sake of examination. The paper setters, the examiner, the teacher, etc. don't bother about the real teaching, learning of language. There is no examination for testing spoken English. So everybody ignores this important aspect of learning the language. The fear of the examination remains taxing for the teachers and the students. There is hardly any language in the real sense of the word. Lack of research, teaching, learning process needs continuous overhauling. A good teacher does not teach the same thing in the same way year after year. He is always on the lookout for introducing new things in new ways. Therefore, research on the part of the teacher is very essential. But we find that the teachers are not able to carry on any research. The lack of research deteriorates the situation. Overload of work. Teachers in schools are engaged in non-academic work assigned to them by the Department of Government, due to which teachers do not take classes regularly. This results in the reduction of instructional hours. The poor standard of teaching English in our schools need immediate checkup. A few propositions, a few suggestions for improving the standard of English teaching are: the teachers of English should be given proper training for the improvement of their own English. Some refresher courses should be made compulsory for them. For new recruitment of teachers, the cost of English teachers should be separated from teachers of social studies. Those who are good at English and have studied teaching of English at B.Ed level should be selected. The teachers who have passed some courses in teaching of English from REI, Chandigarh or EIEFH, Hyderabad should be given preference in selection. All this will improve the situation of teaching of English in schools. The teacher should understand fully the aims and objectives of teaching English. They should teach the language speaking. They should teach the language keeping in view the fundamental aims, for example, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. They should lay due emphasis on each skill. The student should be enabled to use language in their day-to-day life situation. The curriculum of the schools should be carefully planned. It should be made interesting and really useful for the learners. The textbooks and the other activities of the school should fulfill the needs and requirements of the students. The curriculum should be made as far as possible more of practical type and less theoretical. The different types of audiovisual ads should be made available in every school. The teachers of English should be trained to handle these ads effectively. The examination system should be improved, keeping in view the aims of teaching English. Examination should discourage cramming. There should be examinations for testing the different abilities of students, such as speaking, reading, and writing. Efforts should be made to decrease the number of students in classes, particularly for grammar and composition work. For the teaching of textbooks, the size of the class may be bigger. Textbooks should be written by the teachers of the subject, and research workers should be associated with the task of writing. This step will go a long way in improving the quality and standard of textbooks. The load of work of the teachers should be decided, keeping in view that the teacher have to do the correction work. The aims of teaching English in schools are to enable the students to use the language in daily life communication. It is done by acquiring the above four basic skill objectives surely help in achieving the aims. They vary from level to level. Last class is the learner to learner. Aim of the teaching English at the junior level. A student at the end of the fourth year should be able to compose simple and short sentences, speak with correct pronunciation and stress that is accessible. He should have knowledge regarding information and proper stress. He should know the proper use of words regarding capital and small letters. He should also know the proper use of punctuation, good response to short conversational questions, should have good vocabulary and office standard. He can understand English while speaking. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all my brothers and sisters, ladies, gentlemen, students, scholar, teacher, trainer, professor, professional, listener, learner, officer, officials, the most honorable present Professor Modi ji, respected ministers and managers, honorable ministers and managers, respected doctors and directors, honorable advocates, supervisors, administrative advisors, I thank all of you